More than 4,000 students from hostile foreign countries are being educated in Texas universities. Experts say that is a national security risk. Today is Friday, December 5th, 2025.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State. The Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
We've made it to Friday. Thanks for starting the end of your week with the Texas Minute. Late yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Texas's new congressional maps can stay in place for 2026. More on that coming up. Despite warnings from national security experts, universities in the Lone Star State allowed more than 4,000 students from China, Russia, and Iran to enroll in the fall 2025 semester. Each of those countries has been identified as a national security threat by the Office of the Director of National Security in its 2025 Annual Threat Assessment. For this academic year, the University of Texas at Austin accepted 1,400 students from those countries. Texas A&M and the University of Houston both host more than 1,100 each, while Texas Tech took in just 277. National security specialists have warned that China's 2017 national intelligence law compels its citizens to engage in espionage when abroad. As a result, Texas businessman Kyle Bass has advocated shutting down Chinese Communist Party-linked educational exchanges and programs due to the threat of espionage. The fight over requiring displays of the Ten Commandments in Texas's public school classrooms intensified this week as a civil rights group filed a class action lawsuit aimed to blocking the law in every school district. The law in question was passed earlier this year, requiring every classroom to display a donated Ten Commandments poster meeting very specific guidelines. The newest case filed in San Antonio federal court seeks a declaration that the mandate is unconstitutional and to bar statewide enforcement. It comes after two previous lawsuits secured preliminary injunctions blocking the law in only a handful of districts. Attorney General Ken Paxton has instructed all school districts not covered by those earlier injunctions to comply with the law. Next month, the full Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals will hear arguments in both the Texas case and a parallel challenge to Louisiana's similar law. After years of failed attempts, legislation to keep men out of women's private spaces officially took effect yesterday in Texas. The new law was authored by Republican State Senator Mays Middleton of Galveston. It requires state agencies and the political subdivisions of Texas to designate multi-occupancy restrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, and other similar spaces strictly according to biological sex. Legislation to protect women's private spaces had been introduced multiple times since 2017 without success. The law finally passed in the August special session. The new law also directs the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to house inmates according to biological sex. You know, it's nice to see common sense making a comeback. The Texas Minute will be right back.
News and analysis on what's happening in Texas. End your day with daily headlines from Texas Scorecard. Every day at 5 p.m., join me, Brandon Waltons, as we recap the biggest stories of the day and talk about why they matter to you. From the state capitol to town hall, there's no shortage of events happening. Keep up with it all. Listen and subscribe to Daily Headlines from Texas Scorecard.
In a 6-3 decision announced late yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court is allowing the new congressional boundaries adopted earlier this year by Texas lawmakers to stay in effect for the 2026 election season. Left-wing groups had tried to block the map and force a return to previous boundary lines. A divided lower court panel had sided with the Democrats, but in a ruling issued after the candidate filing period had begun. Attorney General Ken Paxton appealed to the Supreme Court, arguing that the lower court injunction would disrupt the Texas election calendar and interfere with the state's constitutional authority to draw its own congressional districts. By granting Paxton's request, the Supreme Court has cleared the way for Texas to conduct upcoming congressional races under what President Donald Trump has called the Big, Beautiful Map. You can find details on that story and the others mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. This edition of the Texas Minute was based on the original reporting of Robert Montoya, Michael Wilson, Brandon Waltons, and Sidney Henry. Our producer is Nick Shepard, who gets the show delivered to you each weekday morning. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Now go make it a great weekend.